in the world. It's brought down that the question is, why was it brought? Why did they close? Why did they take that away?
Why are there no more prophets?
Because the Jews were no longer at the level that is required, spiritual level, if you will, to have prophecy. We were no longer. That is only a prophecy is only something that can be dealt with when the Jews are together, learning together everyday Torah as a whole nation. Everybody's following Torah and mitzvahs. We're all like living in Eretz Israel, land of Israel. And this is what went on for 1,000 years, from the time of Sinai down to the exile.
Right.
So for 1,000 years, 1,000 years, it was good. Prophecy had its place. After that, when we're all split out and dispersed, and Torah is getting harder to hold on to, we're no longer at the level of prophecy, and that's behind us.
Question number 5: was it a mistake to translate the Septuagint? I do not believe it was a mistake. Rabs?
I have to go with what the Torah says. The Talmud says that one of the saddest days, or whatever, in the history of mankind and the history of the universe, was the day that the Torah was translated into Greek.
So question number 6: why have I had the impression that you have to have a Jewish mother to be Jewish? Well, that's the primary way that most people are Jewish, is by Jewish law. It's according to the mother. But there is one alternative way of becoming Jewish, and that is by being converted by a Beit Din, according to Jewish law, the Jewish law court. Number 7: you have heard jokes about Catholic guilt. Do Jews have guilt like that? How does the guilt go away if, say, you lust after a pretty shiksa, or if you bang her? Okay, I don't think there's any comparison between Catholic guilt, Christian guilt, and Jewish guilt, because Jews only have guilt over actions. So Jews don't feel guilt over feelings. So Christians feel guilt if they feel like they lack enough faith in God. Jews don't feel guilt if they lack enough faith in God. Christians feel guilty if they lust in their heart. Jews don't feel guilty if they lust in their heart. Christians feel guilty if they feel themselves overwhelmed with ambition or greed, or they just want to eat a lot of food or drink a lot of wine or have a lot of sex. Christians will feel guilty about these motivations. Jews don't feel guilty about whatever they're motivated by. Jews and Judaism are pretty relaxed about the natural passions. It's all how you express yourself. So do Jews feel guilt if they bang a shiksa? Well, it depends on how religious the Jew, if he's married or not. If he's not married, it's not as serious as if he is married. Still, it's not necessarily any more serious than eating non-kosher. Yeah, I'm not sure either. But there are certainly more ramifications.
Like between him and his wife.
Yeah, but messing with the husband-wife relationship, I may not be able to name the exact sin, but
yeah, she could use it for maybe grounds for divorce.
Yeah, or it just disrupts the sanctity of the Jewish home. It's not something that a Jewish community encourages. It's disruptive to a social organism when people are out screwing around. But the sin in and of itself is not necessarily any more serious than not saying your prayers, not keeping kosher, not keeping the Sabbath, not observing the holidays, or not observing any of the other 613 commandments.
Okay, I'm going to have a whole different take on this. You ready? Most of my friends, I'm going to say, are Catholic, believe it or not. They're either Catholic, practicing Catholic, or they grew up raised as Catholic, or their parents are Catholic, and it's still, somewhat. A lot of it is whether it's intentional or not, is transferred from generation to generation.
Right.
One thing I have heard that's in pretty much a consensus amongst all the Catholics that I've met, in discussing with them, is there's a famous saying, and it's Jews and Catholics, same guilt, different foods. Basically, we have the same guilt. The difference between the guilt, between a Jewish guilt and a Catholic guilt, is very subtle. It's very different. A Jewish mother and a Catholic mother are both going to instill tremendous guilt, but they're going to go at it different ways. It's very famous. The Jewish mother stands outside the house, and it's raining, and she says, It's good. I like standing in the rain. Please take your time in the house. I don't have an umbrella. I don't need one.
Right.
It's good. You take your time in there. I'm content out here in the rain. That's what a Jewish mother does. Catholic mother is a little bit more blunt. There's no subtlety. She'll just say, if you don't open that door right now, you are going to go to hell. Okay, so it's a little different. You know, and a kid growing up with that is like, oh, you know, because they've been like, you know, feared, you know, the hell with it and everything. But if you're Jewish, you have like this, it comes out the same in the wash, you know. So that's my opinion on that. Now, as far as like, you know, banging shiksas and this and that, I think guilt is a good thing because guilt is a motivator. Guilt is a motivator. If we didn't feel guilt, it would be much more difficult for us ever to do atonement. And Torah demands atonement. It demands that you become more, take on more mitzvahs, and learn more Torah, and, you know, this is what it demands. If you don't feel guilty for what you're not doing, it's almost a guarantee you're never going to get out of where you're holding right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not keeping Shabbos, you're driving around on Shabbos every week, you know, and you don't feel guilty about it, it's going to be hard for you to stop it. You're just going to do it every week because you don't feel bad about it. So I think that guilt is a good thing. It's a motivator.
Also, I mean, I've encountered some chicks who said, if you don't make love to me, like right now, I'm going to die. And so, on the one hand, I felt like I was tarnishing my soul and harming my relationship with Hashem and with the Torah and with mitzvahs. On the other hand, this girl is crying out that she's going to die right now.
Well, you have to save her life.
I have to save her life. So I've been placed in that awkward situation.
Don't you hate that?
I hate that. It's just like I feel so compromised and used. But on the other hand, I'm a person with great compassion.
I put an ad over in Craigslist that if you know if there was a shiksa who was in like I would be willing to break Shabbos, let's say, to drive to save her life that way.
Interesting.
I'm just making fun of your Craigslist.
Oh yeah, so we'll go to my Craigslist post. Now, I really enjoy studying Torah with Rabbi Rabs. It's a spiritual high. I find it morally uplifting. I find it sharpens my intellectual acuity. It's a joyous, bon vivant, social occasion every Monday night. And really, there's almost nothing better. Almost nothing better. The only thing that could possibly top this would be if I was doing this Torah talk with a really hot chick. So
I could put on a wig and drag and stuff.
No, yuck, that's disgusting.
Okay, forget it.
So any hot chicks out there who'd like to do some Torah talks with me, send me an email with your qualifications, meaning qualifications about your hotness. So it's not essential in this that you know anything about Torah, but it is essential that you be hot. So I just want to.
So it's going to be Torah talks with the hot chick and heretical talks with Levi Ford.
Yeah.
Okay, just different than the Torah talks with Rabbi Rabs and the heretical talks with Levi Ford.
I'll just see where it goes.
Okay.
You might even turn off the cameras. So you private.
Well, if you leave them on, then you could go put them on your other website.
LukeFord.net is the home of your moral leader. So.
Yeah. Are we got more questions?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Is there some benefit to studying Torah and Talmud a little bit from an outsider's perspective, or is it all or nothing? I think there could be some benefit to studying Torah and Talmud a little bit. What about for the non-Jew? I think there's certainly edifying sections of the Bible or some other Jewish texts that might morally elevate or just sharpen your mental powers.
It's always good to do as much as you can. A little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
A little bit of light. It's brought down in Chassidus, right?
Yeah.
Baal Shem Tov said, a little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. Do one mitzvah. Learn one word of Torah, and you bring a lot of goodness into the world, right? Mm-hmm. And another thing it says in Pirkei Avos, in the Mishnah, it says, the one mitzvah leads to another mitzvah. You do one mitzvah, or you learn one line of Gemara, of Talmud, it'll lead to another one. So don't worry about how little it is that you're doing. It's good just to do that because it will lead to more. And the good that comes from it is tremendous. If you learn Aleph, if you just learn the letter Aleph, feel good about that you learned it.